and he's driver of the number 4 Budweiser Chevrolet for Stewart Haas Racing. He's joined by his crew chief, Rodney Childers. Congratulations to the number 4 team. Kevin's 26th win in the Sprint Cup Series, his 3rd win in 2014. Kevin, congratulations. How does it feel now to know that you are now going to advance to that next round of 8?
Yeah, I won't be anorexic and throwing up all week. So, you know, I didn't even know how we were going to prepare for next week without just being a total disaster, because you just know that so much is out of your control going into Talladega. And really this is the round that we focus the most on, in my opinion. We came here and tested. We knew Kansas was going to be crazy just because of the past history since the repave. Talladega is always crazy. I mean, it's going to be so crazy with everybody in the offensive frame of mind, like everybody was tonight, that they might have to move the seats back a few rows. But all in all, it's a great night for us to be able to have to go. You know, the first pit stop, the guys overcame pit guns. The second pit stop was awesome. 2 tires, 4 tires, pit call at the end, a restart at the end, all those things that we've had stuff happen on tonight. We just hit a home run and made it all happen, and still had a fast car and parked it in victory lane, and that's what it's all about. Great time of year to do it.
Congratulations. Rodney, just talk about this race here tonight. Certainly it was a race, no place for the faint-hearted out there tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Just talk about how you thought things unfolded.
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew going into the race that things were going to be different, and it was different all the way up till the very end. You know, thankfully we had a fast car all night, like Kevin said, and overcame a few things. But just interested in how you kind of see some things unfold. You know, with the shifter lever and stuff with the 88. You know, I hate that for those guys, but you know, it's tough right now. You got to do everything right, and you know, we were fortunate tonight. But you know, these races have changed so much lately, and the complexion of the races and the pit calls and stuff like that. You know, in the past here, you would have never stayed out there at the end, and you know, you would have got your doors blown off there at the end. So you know, it was interesting how it played out. Just really thankful, and you know, the guys have done a great job. Kevin's done a great job, and like he said, you know, we wanted to come here and get it done, and just like I said, thankful that we were able to.
Take questions. Jennifer Fryer is going to lead it off, and then we'll go over here to Barry.
Jennifer Fryer, AP, I guess for both of you, you've led like 10,000 laps this year and only had 2 wins to show for it coming into tonight. With all the things that have gone wrong, were you worrying and waiting for what would go wrong, and how did you feel when that caution came out and forced you into that green-white checkered?
They're all character-building moments. You know, winning is easy as a team, and usually when the nights go your way, they go your way. There's just no way that the bad luck could continue to haunt us like that, and I preach that to these guys, and have been around this deal long enough to know that we're very fortunate to be in the position that we're in with fast cars and doing the things that we're doing. Sure, we might have to tweak on a few things, and tonight we were able to capitalize on all those things that we've pulled the trigger on. But in the end, when you have fast cars, the results will come with it. You just have to wait it out, and I think tonight proved to all of us that we can do every situation that was presented to us and overcome it. And that's you know, sure, we want to win every week. And but in the end, it's still, there's only one goal, and that's to put the trophy in the back of your truck at Homestead and drive it home.
Go to Barry, and then we'll go to Mike.
Barry, Richmond Piedmont Broadcasting Corporation. And Kevin or Rodney, whichever, for the team. Kevin, you mentioned that you don't have to agonize so much over Talladega. So what is the next track that you feel like you and the team need to focus on?
Well, I think you got to focus on all of them. It's definitely not a deal where you can just focus on one of them and think you're going to go there and win and be okay and go on to Homestead. This next round is going to be just as much as consistency as anything. You know, if you can go and finish top 5 in those 3 races, you're going to get to go to Homestead. So, you know, we really haven't focused on a single race all year. It's been about making our team the best that we can every single week. We take the very best car that we think we can every week, and just try to keep doing that.
Other questions? Let's go to Mike and then to Stan.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. This is for both of you, really. You're headed to Talladega and knowing you're into the next round. It takes the pressure off, but do you go to the front and just run up front all day, or do you park it after the green flag comes out, open a couple buds, and watch everybody else go through the stressful
I'd
day?
park it. Because it'll be one hell of a race to watch. That's what I'd do. I don't know about him.
Okay, let's go to Stan, and then let's go to Viv.
Stan Creekmore with Competition Plus. Kevin, the last final laps, you had a really comfortable lead and everything. Did the caution flag cause you any worry whatsoever?
Oh yeah, I'm like, when he told me to pit, I'm like, all right, that's the right thing to do. And he's like, stay out, and I'm like, oh God. And I watched a few of them stay out behind me, and I'm like, well, it's not too bad. And then we took off on the restart, and it was like 2 qualifying laps. So it was definitely the right decision to stay out. And I saw them fan out 2 or 3 wide there at the end. But you never know what's right and what's wrong. I've won this race, on 2 tires. I've won this race on 4 tires, and now no tires. So it's always interesting to see what that strategy is and where everybody's head is. But those guys have a much better perception on what's going to happen on the pit box because they hear the radio chatter and they hear everything that's going on. So you just believe in what those guys are doing, and you listen to them on the restart and pick your best lane and hope it all works out. And it did tonight.
Let's go to Viv and then Jay.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times. I don't know how much of the after-race events you were able to see or hear about. There were a few fights, and I guess I wonder if...
A few? Okay.
Well,
Did I miss? I thought there was only one.
Well, Denny and Brad, and then Matt and Brad. How much do you think that's a function of this new format? And given, if so, I mean, what do you really expect to happen at Talladega? I mean, it could get kind of interesting.
Well, when you see Matt Kenseth mad enough to fight, you know that this is intense because that's way out of character for him. But I was right behind that moment and lost 2 or 3 spots going into turn 1 as well when Brad basically took a right and shoved him into the fence. So when you see that happen, I think that every moment matters in this chase. And Matt Kenseth knew that one particular moment could have been the end of his chase. And that's the bottom line. I mean, that's how intense this whole chase is. I didn't see what happened between the 2 and the 11, but I saw the 2 hang a right and just stuff the 20 in the fence. And we all checked up, and 20 hit the fence, and I have no idea where he finished. But when you see that emotion out of Matt Kenseth, you know that NASCAR has done the right thing to this chase because everybody is on offense and gouging for every single position that you can get every lap. I don't know. I'm parking and watching it. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be crazy. Offensive racing. You want to drive, Delana?
Jay.
Jay Pennell with Fox Sports. That was kind of my same question as well, but...
Well, that's no good then.
That's no good, so I had to come up with another one.
You've been upstaged by the New York Times.
It's true.
Good luck with your next job.
So, obviously you guys have led a lot of laps, as you talked about before. Did this win kind of feel like getting the monkey off your back and just kind of free you up going ahead to the chase? Did you have any concerns about, the fact that you had run so well and competed so well but couldn't get back into victory lane?
And he may disagree with this, but I feel like I'm somewhat the, partially the leader of this team with Rodney and Greg Zipadelli and the guys at the shop. But I've been in this deal before when you've had just crazy things happening, and usually you're running like total crap. Right now we are very fortunate. And I tell them I tell them this every week at lunch, Monday when we get back and we've had something crazy happen. You go back and I'm like, well, bottom line is we have a fast car and we can win every race. So, you know, we'll just keep working on everything and try to get it all worked out, and hopefully by the end of the year you have everything worked out and you can race for a championship and be in position to race for that championship at Homestead. But when you have fast cars, everything else takes care of itself eventually. Bad luck can't haunt you forever.
I was actually going to say something on somebody else's question earlier, but he hit it on the head. Like, I mean, he is the leader, and there's one thing that I get almost every Sunday night or Saturday night, and it's a text message that says, you know, the problems that we have are a lot better than the problems we don't have. And as soon as I get that message, or as soon as he says that, it flips a switch. I move to the next week. All the guys move to the next week, and we go try to build the fastest car we can and move on. So, you know, I think a lot of people have focused on the things that have happened to us, but we've had a lot of good, you know, a lot more good stuff happen to us than bad stuff. We're really fortunate to be in this situation. We're fortunate to have good cars and good engines and just a bunch of guys that just want to work hard and win races, and that's really hard to get. So, like I said, he's the ringleader of that and does a really good job of it.
FYI, we're only 10 months in. That's the good thing.
Let's go back in the back. Kyle, you have a question?
Kyle McCurry, My Fox Carolinas. Run for championships, and there are different formats over the years, but I wonder what you just said about this chase format. Does it change the anticipation for you, and does it make this one maybe seem more special if you do end up being the champion?
It makes me want to puke every week. That's what it does. You know, when we first got this, we were sitting down in our team meeting with NASCAR, and Brian said, here's what we're going to do, boys. We're going to have this championship format, and we're going to have the elimination rounds, and Homestead's going to come down to the championship. I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then he says, well, if you were going to have problems in Homestead, you were going to have them in any championship format. I'm like, okay. And then you look at the intensity that it has added from every 3 weeks, and you know it's the right thing to do because it has been so intense and so crazy. And my wife can tell you, it's like you go home and all you do, you lay up at night and you think about, okay, what do I have to do next week? Okay, what do we got to do? Who do I need to talk to? And it's just, it consumes everything that you do. And I'm fortunate to have, you know, a situation at home to where she understands the intensity of the sport, but it could definitely, you know, eat you up in a hurry. But for me, it's been very intense. It's been fun to see how my team was going to react. And Rodney wins the race, and he packs up his backpack and decides to go back to work that night and work on the car for the next week. So he's not really excitable, but when you see the excitement from him and the guys on the team and everything that comes from winning tonight, or just even after a bad week, I mean, you go and you qualify on a pole, those guys they're into it, and every week and every Monday, it's no matter what happens, nobody cares. Everybody's just like, all right, what do we need to do for this week? And so it's just it's been totally different. It's not about worrying about how many points you have or who's where or who's doing what. It's all right, how are we going to try to figure out how to win this race so we don't have to throw up all week and go to Talladega? That's really what it's been about right now. So it's been intense.
I have to admit, and Delana vouch, I was eating Pepto-Bismol tablets all night, so I agree with him. It's not just Talladega by any means. It started weeks ago, and you know, and that's how it's going to be all the way to Homestead. And I'll have stock in Pepto-Bismol, I guess.
Let's go to the press box, and then we'll come back down here. Go ahead, press box.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. For Kevin, there was a time not too long ago when your record at Charlotte wasn't exactly what you would call stellar, but in the last couple years, you You've now won 3 races out of your last 8. And how does it feel? Has it kind of changed your perspective coming to this track now?
It has. Marcus Smith was very influential in making sure that I understood that my stats were just fine, and we had won a bunch of money here, and all-star race, and a 600, and then it was another 600, and so it's been a great racetrack for us over the last several years, and this year obviously it felt like we could have won both races leading up to this one. So all in all, it's fun to be able to win races, and especially when you're coming to victory lane and winning races here, you're bringing a lot more people. Most of them are on pit road before the race, but in victory lane you're bringing a lot more people than normal, from the shop, their families and their kids, and everybody who normally doesn't get to go to the race. So it's a special place to race, and just really glad that we're able to turn that around and be able to be productive at Charlotte and not have to be on defense. And if you're on defense in this format, you're in trouble.
Other questions in the press box? Let's go back down here. Go ahead, Jerry.
Jerry Bunkowski, NBCSports.com. Kevin, I know it's a real fine line. It's a catch-22. You're in the playoffs. You got all this drama. The fans are loving it. Do we see any potential outcome, with maybe some points being taken away, some kind of penalties because of what Keselowski did on the track and then after the race too?
You're crazy. They love it. They were fighting afterwards. That's what it's all about, and it's no way. That's in the car you make a decision. You see somebody coming, you block them, you shove them in the fence, and you try to you suffer the circumstances as you go forward. So if I would say if 2 goes forward, 20 wrecks him, no doubt.
Mike?
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Rodney, this was for you. Obviously, where you can throw Talladega out the window, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And looking ahead to the next round, I know Martinsville's first, but does this win at a 1.5 mile track give you confidence knowing the success you're having with this package on 1.5 miles as you head into Texas?
Well, I think so. We've been strong at all the intermediates this year. We've been fortunate to just hit on something that works for us, but everybody thinks we have a magic setup, but it's never the same. It's more about preparing for each racetrack. What we ran at Charlotte won't work at Texas, so you just got to work hard. You got to prepare for each event and do the best job you can. And fortunate enough that he's always run really well at all those places, and felt like we had good cars at all of them in the spring also. So we just got to get back to the shop, and like I said earlier, we got to build the best cars we can and make sure that we're ready when that time comes.
Stan, you got a question? Let's get the mic to him, please.
Stan Creekmore again with Competition Plus. I basically had a similar question, but Rodney, obviously you get to relax a little bit for Talladega, but of the following 3 races, is this going to double your need for Tums and everything for Martinsville,
this
Phoenix,
dude's
and all?
blood pressure doesn't ever go above 110, so I mean his pulse is like 40. We think he's like half dead.
Yeah, everybody always picks on me. I get my blood pressure checked and my heart rate, and they wonder what's wrong with me. But it really just I don't know. I mean, it's always going to be intense. I mean, it always has been, whether it's this format or any other format. I've never been in that situation. I've always had to watch other guys do that, and it didn't matter if it was Chad Knaus or Jimmy Finning or who it was. I mean, you could see it on their faces the entire weekend, and that's part of it. You just gotta. It's more about the preparation going into it than it is the actual race. If you can't unload off the truck and be the fastest car, you're gonna struggle all weekend, and that's our thought process every single week. So like I said, it's more about building the best cars we can and showing up, you know, and doing our jobs, and you know, the rest of it take care of itself.
Any additional questions? Congratulations to the number 4 Budweiser Chevrolet team, driver Kevin Harvick, crew chief Rodney Childers.